Ever since the creation of the planet Earth, forests are a part and parcel of the living creatures. India is a country with vast forests since ancient times. As per the Indian State of Forest Report 2017, the total forest cover of the country is 70.82 million hectares, which is 21.54% of the geographical area. The total forest and tree cover constitutes 80.2 million hectares, that is 24.39% of the geographical area. Forests play an important role in the country's economic development by providing a large variety of tangible and intangible benefits and are a prime source of livelihoods for millions of the poor people. The forests of the country have seen the control of the native kings as well as the emperor of the British government. It was the British who first introduced scientific management of forests in India. As a consequence, the Imperial Forest Department was established in India in 1864. The British state monopoly over Indian forests was first asserted through the Indian Forest Act of 1865. This colonial law brought the forests under the centralized sovereignty of the state. Having realized the importance of a multi-tier forest administration in the federal and provincial governments for effective management of forest resources, the British India government also constituted Provincial Forest Service and executive and subordinate services which were quite similar to the present-day forest administrative hierarchy. The officers appointed to the Imperial Forest Service were first trained in France and Germany. Thereafter, until 1905, they were trained at Cooper's Hill, London, which had been one of the prestigious professional colleges of forestry at that time. From 1905 to 1926, the universities of Oxford, Cambridge and Edinburgh had undertaken the task of training the officers of the Imperial Forest Service. The Imperial Forest Research Institute, Dehradun, presently and popularly known all over the world as FRI, was established at Dehradun in the year 1906. The baton to train the IFS officers was passed on to Forest Research Institute, which it did successfully from 1927 to 1932. The Indian Forest Service, one of the three All India services, was constituted in the year 1966 under the All India Services Act 1951 by the Government of India, and the officers of the service are presently being trained at the Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy, Dehradun. Similarly, the State Forest Service officers and forest range officers in the country are being trained in the various central academies for state forest services under Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, Delhi. The training of the frontline staff of deputy rangers, foresters and forest guards from various state forest departments is being carried out at the different state-level forest training institutes. The forestry training introduced towards the end of the 19th century served the country well for over 100 years. However, there came a paradigm shift in the principles of forest management. Timber no more remained the core objective of forest management. It was replaced by the objectives aimed at biodiversity conservation, climate change mitigation, water conservation, livelihood for forest-dependent communities, and such other hitherto alien concepts to forest management.
India is only 2.4% of geographical area of the Earth's land area, but it supports 17% of human population and 18% of cattle which depend on the forests. India has been able to manage to have a good forest area of forest and tree cover of 24%. So, this means that our forests are being well managed, which goes on to say that the trained forest personnel have been managing the forest pretty well. This also highlights the fact that forest training has to be very, very important. So, all the forest service officers, starting from a guard to the Indian Forest Service officer, they undergo training at the time of joining the service, and also during mid-career. So, at all levels there is an utmost importance is necessary on the forest training to know professionally manage the forests.
Realizing this, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, has taken up a Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA aided project, Capacity Development for Forest Management and Training of Personnel, since 2011, with the objective of strengthening human resource development for sustainable forest management.
I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to MOEFCC and concerned State Forest Department for the successful implementation and high achievement of the project. Capacity development is continuous effort. This project has focused on the right target and has been successfully implemented. I wish the assets created in the project will continuously contribute to further capacity development of the State Forest Department across India.
The major objective of the project is to strengthen human resource development for sustainable forest management. This is to be largely achieved through improving training environment for the frontline staff by way of rehabilitation of state forest training institutes and CASFOS, providing furniture, equipment, GIS facility, survey and forest measurement instruments, conducting training programs for master trainers and training of trainers, who in turn provide state-of-the-art information and knowledge base to the frontline forestry staff with due emphasis on JFM.
The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change had embarked upon a project for the capacity development and forest management of forestry personnel, which is funded through the JICA. 4 Central Academy of Forest Services, 26 state forest training institutes were taken under the ambit for the training and infrastructure development of these institutes, and also for development of new curricula for facilitating and upgradation of the training of forestry, particularly frontline forest staff. The project so far has yielded extremely very good positive results, and I've seen the type of infrastructure that has come up, which clearly shows a marked change in the approach of teaching as well as in the curricula of the forestry personnel.
The details of India-Japan cooperation in forest management were firmed up after detailed deliberations at the 3 working group meetings with JICA. Under the JICA project, there are 4 Central Academies for State Forest Service, CASFOS, which are Government of India institutes under the Directorate of Forest Education, contributing in training-related activities of frontline staff, apart from their usual mandate of imparting training to State Forest Service officers and Range Forest officers. These are located at Dehradun, Bernihart, Coimbatore and Kurseong, and 26 SFTIs of 13 states, namely Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Mizoram, Nagaland, Uttarakhand and West Bengal. The assistance provided under the JICA project has led to improvement in forest management techniques, providing equipment, construction of new buildings and renovations, training of master trainers, and most importantly, has given a new impetus to the training of the frontline staff. The Academy, located in the sylvan surroundings of the world-famous Forest Research Institute campus, is imparting world-class training to the SFS officer trainees. There are 2 spacious lecture halls fitted with latest audiovisual teaching equipment, a conference hall of international standards, computer lab, and 2 hostels provide the best of training facilities. The institute has undertaken major changes in training infrastructure under the JICA project. Like CASFOS Dehradun, CASFOS Coimbatore has all modern tools of smart lecture halls, conference hall, computer lab and a well-stocked library. There is a hostel with a capacity to house 80 people and also playground and gym for physical fitness. Like other CASFOS, this academy has all the required training infrastructure in the form of lecture halls, library, playground, etc. Under the JICA project, it has undertaken repairing and upgradation of hostel building and office building, upgradation of conference room and hostel lounge, construction of executive hostel cum guest house, construction of security barrack, construction of tennis court and procuring furniture and training equipment. The Central Academy of Forest Education College, located in Kurseong, is engaged exclusively in training forest range officers. The college building is a legacy of British architecture and has tremendous heritage value. The institute has undertaken major changes in training infrastructure under the JICA project. Kerala Forest School Valayar is involved in imparting induction training to both foresters and forest guards. During the study tours, providing inputs on the practical aspects of forestry is given top priority, like dealing with forest offences, silvicultural operations, timber operations and regeneration techniques. Physical fitness, exercises and games are part of the curriculum. The JICA has turned the Assam Forest Guard School into a quality training center by providing new infrastructure, academic cum administrative building, hostel building, staff quarters, internal roads, boundary walls, computers and books, etc. The JICA project is surely a blessing in the field of forest protection and conservation of wildlife. Forester and Forest Guards Training School, Mahilong, is situated in the Ranchi district of Jharkhand. More than 109 batches of forest guards have passed out from here. Now additional facilities have been created under the JICA project. In state forest training institutes of Hijli and Dow Hill in West Bengal, additional facilities have been added under the JICA project by providing new infrastructure, buildings, drainage, compound electrification, internal roads, foot track, furniture and training equipment, etc.
जायका प्रोजेक्ट के तहत संस्थान ने नया मॉडल, सिलेबस और नई पुस्तिकाएं बनाई हैं जो कि हमें हमारी ट्रेनिंग के दौरान उपलब्ध भी करवाई गई। ट्रेनिंग के दौरान उपयोग होने वाली पुस्तिकाएं, पावर पॉइंट प्रेजेंटेशन और डॉक्यूमेंट्री हमारे लिए बहुत ही उपयोगी साबित हुई हैं।
Under the soft component of JICA project, the states have prepared training improvement plans and syllabi for frontline staff have been updated to reflect upon the emerging paradigm shifts in forest management from timber primacy to sustainable forest management and participatory forestry. Training materials like lesson plans, handouts, case studies, PowerPoint presentations and audio-visual aids have been prepared for the trainers and trainees. The ministry organized Master Trainers Training and Training of Trainers program to build a strong cadre of trained faculty in the state forest training institutes. 3 national level workshops on JICA project were held for sharing of the best practices and innovations made by the states. An exposure visit to Japan led by Dr. Sunish Bakshi, DIG RT and Project Director JICA project was organized in January 2018.
There are 2 major components in this beautiful program. One is rehabilitation and second is construction of new infrastructures. So, by this unique program we have developed infrastructure facilities, also GIS, IT facilities and others to equip our forest guard training, foresters training, range forest officers training and SFS training. This is considered to be one of the best projects under the JICA because it supports all the projects under the JICA program. And I am very thankful to the JICA authorities for giving us an opportunity to work under this program, and this program is successfully implemented in 13 states in the first phase and the 4 CAS FOS. And second phase also we are considering high hopes from the JICA authorities. Under the second phase we will be covering again all the states and covering the pan India.
The project is immensely helping the central and state institutes in reorienting their training on the emerging issues of sustainable forest management, participatory forestry, increasing role of village panchayats and joint forest management committees, devolution of funds, enhanced transparency through the Right to Information Act, concerns for climate change and added complexities due to insurgency and Naxalism, etc. The ministry released a manual, Joint Forest Management, a handbook, and the states have reviewed and updated their JFM guidelines.
So, I am happy that under the JICA project, we are doing the capacity building of our forest training institutions, and this will definitely go a long way in imparting training to the forest personnel and build their capacity to manage our forest wealth.
It is said that a plane is as good as its pilot. Without a properly trained pilot, even the best of the planes would crash. Likewise, in forest management, India has a well-tested century-old forestry science in place. The science is robust enough to take on all the challenges of modern forestry. In addition, new tools are being developed to further fine-tune the existing forestry science to meet the new challenges of the 21st century. What is critical is the training of the staff that would eventually use the science and the new tools to steer the forestry of the 21st century. In this, the JICA project has come as a big boom. It is hoped that the new thrust and support given to forest training under JICA project would go a long way in the sustainable forest management of the country.